Options trading can be very, very dangerous. We have this article here and it's titled, I lost $400,000, almost everything I had on a single Robinhood bet. Now let's go ahead and go to the middle. Go here and it says it didn't start with Alibaba. It started with a $5,000 bet on AMC. Then the $5,000 became $15,000 when I bet on something else. Then it became $50,000 when I bet on silver. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Now I want to buy a safe bet. And the safe bet was Alibaba. It had fallen from 330 to 245. But I wanted to find a company where the price earning ratio was low and every single analyst had a buying rating with like 40 to 50% upside on it. Looking at all tip ranks, my understanding was that this was a very, very safe bet with a limited amount of risk. This was back in 2021. Let's take a look and see where Alibaba is trading today. So we have this chart pulled up and you can see Alibaba is trading at 81.18. So in 2021, the stock was trading above $200. And you can imagine how many people thought this was a good investment in 2021, 2022, 2023, and even this year, the year of the dragon, 2024. And even to this day, people are still saying to buy Alibaba. Why? Because it has a low PE ratio. But you have to understand, Alibaba is a Chinese stock. It has a lot of political risk. It's not like buying a US stock like Meta, Amazon. You cannot compare a Chinese stock to a US tech stock. So you can say one day it's down over 1%. 3 months, all time. Okay, so 1 year it's still down 14%. 5-year chart, it's down 54%, and all time it's at 12%. So people who bought this at IPO, they are down. And you will hear people say, just hold it. So how long are someone supposed to hold a stock before becoming profitable? You're basically putting your money into something that's not making money, whereas you could have used the money and putting it into a savings account and still be up to this day. Let's go back to the article. Then I just went all in on this one single stock. The $200 strike price call option on Alibaba. I would describe a call option as a leverage bet on an underlying stock, which helps you increase the upside or downside of the bet you're trying to make. I initially invested $300,000 in February. Basically, every single liquid asset in my account, not retirement, but everything cash. I didn't have anything left. My thesis was I might not make a lot of money, but I won't lose much. The downside seemed limited in that if worst comes to worst, it would go down to $280,000. Right here. The price started to continuously drop almost from the get-go. I was watching it night and day, and it took a mental toll. And I can tell you this right now, this is exactly what's happened to me on these Chinese stocks. The issue with Alibaba is its dual listed stock. It trades in the Hong Kong market and in the US. So all day you're watching pre-markets and opening in Hong Kong and then again in the US Monday through Friday. You're constantly watching. My mom told me on April 13th, get out today. And it might have been ego, it might have been stupidity, ignoring the facts, but my conviction was high. If you listen to smart people, they said it would go up. So I was like, hey, this is gonna rebound. And my salary came in. I saved another $100,000. So in July, I put in almost $100,000. I basically transferred all the liquid cash that I had maxed out my account if my company had not paid me at the end of July, I wouldn't have made my rent payment on August 1st. My mom told me not to do it, and I still did. When I invested the $100,000, she told me sell tomorrow, sell tomorrow, sell tomorrow. I didn't listen. It was stupid, an extreme level of greed and risk taking. The next 10 days after that, it dropped by another 30%. It was fully out of the money by then. Wow. You see, he lost it all. He lost it all. The whole $400,000 turned to zero. It was at that time that I knew that there was no coming back from this. I was literally begging for it to come back so I could get even. Just pray, like once you go from desperation to literally praying, and I'm not even religious. But the truth was, I was still somewhat optimistic. I still had $75,000, and I was hoping that Alibaba would make a recovery, which of course it did not. My next thing was, okay, how do I earn all this money back? But it fell from $75,000 to $50,000, and I was pretty depressed for like 2 months. I knew I messed up and felt stupid. I was so unhappy that my parents didn't want to make me feel more stupid. Sure, my mom told me off a couple of times, but she was so supportive because she knew I was already beating myself up. I should have listened to her. She told me to diversify a little. Don't go all in on one, but I felt like because she told me not to do it many times, I actually had to do it. I sold and shut down my Robinhood account in October right before my birthday. I decided I don't want to have this hanging over my head. So he walked away with under $20,000. The day I sold it, I was like, you know what? I fucked up. It was a mistake, but clean slate, dust yourself off and move on. One of the things that actually helped me was I met this random person. He told me a story that changed my perspective a little. This guy, he's in his 50s or something. It took him a long time to save up like $150,000. He put it in the market and he lost, I think, $110,000 out of $150,000. What he told me touched my heart. He said all he really cared about now was having enough money now to send this to 2 girls to college. And I was like, what am I crying about? I have a roof over my head. I have food on the table. It changed my perspective. It's my fault. At the end of the day, I was stupid enough to not diversify, but I don't think Robinhood is a net positive for society. The way it's designed, you get dopamine hits. When you place a trade, when you see it go up or down, the green or the red, it's addictive. If their model is payment for order flow, there's no question they just want you to trade, no matter if you win or lose. Alibaba is trading at $125, which is almost half of where it was at the beginning when I bought it. In retrospect, it's extremely obvious that it was a stupid decision from a risk management perspective and from a basic investment fundamentals perspective. A combination of ego, greed, overconfidence, and FOMO. Still, if I could do it again, I wouldn't have put the other $100,000 in, but I would still have made the initial $300,000 bet, even if I would have lost it all. And that's the story of this person who lost almost $400,000 on Alibaba. Just because you see all these analysts having a buy rating doesn't mean it's a good buy. And I fell for it too. And ultimately, like I said, it was my fault for being in the stock market. So I know how this person feels to put everything in one stock. Alibaba has been a nightmare, and I know a lot of people got in around 150, 200, and this year it has not gone above 100. This year alone, look, it's flat. So people who bought leaps, long dated call options, they're down. They are down quite a bit. It has not gone anywhere. So the lesson here is diversify. And be very careful if you're buying options because there is an expiration date. I think if he had bought shares with his $400,000, he would still have some money left. Not a lot, but he would still have money left instead of losing it all on calls because, like I said, they have an expiration date. And his calls became out of the money, and there's no way to recover that. And that's why options are very dangerous, and I lost the majority of my money on options. Not just calls, but naked calls as well. Let me know, guys, what do you think of this article? Has this ever happened to you where you're so convinced that a stock would go up or go down? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.